everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
Welcome back, college tennis. A new year and a new look to the fall season. A clean slate for student athletes to write their names into the history book. Rising stars and known veterans, all towards the goal of perfection. Their chance at greatness begins now. Where legends are made, where champions are crowned, it's the ITA All-American Championships. Tulsa and Cary await. College tennis fans, we'll see you soon.
Welcome in, everybody. Chris Halioris here with you for the afternoon session, our featured match of the day from the men's 2024 ITA All-American Championships. Featuring today on the near side here in warm-ups from the University of Virginia, sophomore Dylan Dietrich. And on the far court, Ohio State University junior Alex Bernard. This a match I'm very much looking forward to, a big contrast in styles. Two guys that we've talked a lot about over the last season. Both standouts. Interesting notes coming into this one. Dietrich an automatic berth into the main draw. Bernard, based off ITA rankings, had to go through the qualifying draw and was only a 15 seed. Which obviously you've got to play the matches, but that sort of looked like a... If you were in his section, I'll put it that way. If you were one of the four people, or the other three in his section, you had to win 2 matches in qualifying to make the main draw. You weren't happy. That's not a guy you want to see in your part of the draw. Bernard makes it through. This match being played on court 8 here in Tulsa. They get the court assignments as they open up. Was hoping to get one of the first 4. We'll talk about a few new things during the broadcast for this year, one of which is a pilot of the electronic line calling system. They are using it in Tulsa, but it's on courts 1 through 4. Was sort of hoping we might get one of those courts to free up for this match, but that's not the case. Just so everybody knows, that electronic line calling system that they are piloting is somewhat like what you've got on the ATP Tour when you watch. It's not a challenge and you have to go to a replay. It's an automatic call. However, only utilized. The players still call their lines, and only in the case where a player calls a ball out but the electronic line calling says it was in, will they get overruled. So that'll be something fun to watch for should we get a chance. Sometime this week. We've got matches obviously every day this week up through Sunday for the final. In addition, something else new is the fact that the players have lost one of their overrules pre-penalty this year. Last year it was a point penalty on the 3rd. This year it is a point penalty on the 2nd. Talked to some coaches already here at All-Americans, and they've said it's already made a big difference because you're getting guys getting overrules in their 2nd or 3rd game, and then they're afraid to call anything out the rest of the way because the next one is a penalty. So we'll see how that plays out. They're finishing their warm-ups here. As we go on, we'll talk a little bit about the importance of the All-Americans this year and how that leads to the NCAA individuals. First, we'll get going here. Looks like Dietrich's going to start us off serving. Oh, beautiful forehand from Bernie. Can see some of the contrasting styles already. Bernie's going to be an absolute grinder. Happy to play a 3-hour match if necessary. Dietrich going to be much more the aggressor. Going for big serve plus ones, big forehands. Bernie's counter-punching game on point to start here. Dietrich playing the game you know he's going to play. He's going to dictate. He's going to move in. So far, Bernie comfortable counter-punching and passing when needed. Good forehand there from Dietrich. Try to dig out of this early 15-40 hole in the first game. Still another break point for Bernie here. A deciding point if he doesn't get this one. So it's an early break for Bernie as the Ohio State junior goes up 1-love here. look at Bernie serve for the first time. Bernard is a freshman. Made the quarterfinals of the NCAA singles tournament. I think Bernard, one guy that this new format is probably a welcome format for getting into individuals. He was a victim last year of playing 5 on his team and not getting the opportunity to play ranked players. And last year, entry into the NCAAs was based off of ranking. Big pace from Dietrich there, forcing the error from Bernie. But Bernie not in the NCAA singles draw last year because of that. Now ranking no longer a factor. Everybody gets equal opportunity to win their way into NCAAs. So Bernie, one guy. That's a big forehand from Bernie. He's one guy I think that's got to be in favor of that new format. You see Coach Tucker pacing on his side here. Standard Coach Tucker garb, sweatpants rolled up to the knees, t-shirt and hat. The only thing we're missing is the pen cap in the mouth right now. Just wide from Dietrich. Makes it 30 all here. William Douglas, I see your question about the Cosnay match. No, this. If you want to see that, tune in to the cross-court cast that Alex Gruskin's got going on the other YouTube channel. I am certain, with that one being 4-all in the third, that he will show. Oh, Dietrich with the wheels to get there, but can't get it over the net. Got our featured match of the day here, so we'll be showing this match start to finish. But again, there is another YouTube channel, both under the ITA and Cracked Rackets, that you can catch that has the cross-court casts. As I said, I'm sure in those matches that are tight down the stretch, Alex Gruskin will show that, so you'll be able to catch that. And a big hold from Love 30. Bernie gets 4 straight points and gets the hold for 2 Love. You can see Coach Tucker on the side talking. I can only assume there is one other match right now going on featuring an Ohio State player, and that's Aiden Kim. They must be on the court next to him because you can see Coach Tucker talking to Coach Crow there. So Crow's got to have Aiden Kim on his court. And that's deep and night. You see the contrasting styles. Bernie the counterpunching, sort of forcing Dietrich to go for his balls. Dietrich going to have to fight the urge to overhit, knowing that he needs to hit the winners. But just like in that case there, catches Bernie Gets the serve wide, gets him on the run, but overhits the ball. Wide. This is a little tricky start now for Dietrich. Already down a break. And love 30 here. Oh, beautiful drop shot from Bernie. Love 40. Dietrich digging a hole here. 4 break chances for Bernie to go up a quick double break to start this match. Goes for it on that return. Just wide. Bernie earns the break. So it's a 3-love double break lead for Alexander Bernard here. Very quick start for him. Dietrich now need to see if he can get things going. Had some fun with Dietrich and family last year at the NCAA tournament. One of my favorite stories from the tournament. Always loved meeting fans, parents, anybody involved, family members. Give the Dietrich story here. Over the course of this game between points. Again, Bernie, he is all over that forehand pass. It's at least 3 of them now. You see, I believe that's Coach Huey there, but you see him hitting that ball to the forehand. Bernie making those passes. I got to think right about now, Dietrich saying to himself, okay, let's hit one to his backhand when we come in next time. Long on the return. But we'll start the Dietrich story with events early in the year. Watching young freshmen, early season play and playing at indoors. And it was actually Alex Gruskin's younger brother on site watching him, and as he Even the Bernie backhand's firing. It's all Alexander Bernard right now. But crucial moment in a match for Dietrich. And he flaps his arms kind of like a bird and was instantly nicknamed by the younger Nicholas Gruskin the Eagle. Didn't have a nickname. And I think it's the first time in our history that we really got a name to stick so that it was actually adopted by the player. As Bernie gets another hold, it's now 4-love. We saw later in the year tweets coming with both the emojis and the words for the Eagle. So Dylan Dietrich adopted the Eagle nickname. Fast forward to NCAAs. We're doing the coverage there. It's the team championships have ended. It's the first day of individuals. There's a good backhand from Dietrich. Gonna need a little more of that. But it's the first day of individuals. I happen to be leaving that day. I'm checking out of the hotel. Have the suitcase sitting next to the car, getting ready to get loaded. A little too much on that one. And as I'm getting ready to load the suitcase, I'm walking around the car and I hear, not sure exactly what it was was like, "Hey Chris," or something along these lines. I look up, nice looking couple I have no knowledge of. There's a good forehand that Bernie can't get to pass with. But anyhow, I see the couple, don't know who they are. They walk up and approach and they say, "Hey, you know, we love the show. We love everything you guys are doing. I'm Mama Eagle." At which point I about lost it. Great rally and a bad bailout from Dietrich on a drop shot that doesn't even make it to the net. 30-all here. But yeah, it was Dylan Dietrich's mom and dad who introduced herself as Mama and Papa Eagle, which was just great. Love catching up to them. I was so caught off guard, I left my suitcase sitting on the sidewalk. We're 2 hours into the broadcast at the center, and the hotel calls and says, "You left a suitcase sitting out front." It was classic. Another miss. And Dietrich now 2 break points and on the verge of giving up a triple break and just mailing this set in. But the Dietrichs had come over from Switzerland to see their son play in the NCAA tournament. It's great to catch up with them, as it is with all the family fans, everyone every year. But that was the good Dylan Dietrich story from last year. Oh, what do you do? If you're Dylan Dietrich, that's just too good from Bernie. Another break, and it's 5-love Alexander Bernard. At this point, he's just got to wait and let Bernie cool off. because Bernie's hitting everything. So we talked a little bit about the path to the NCAA individuals this year. No ranking at all. I mentioned that, probably something that Alexander Bernard's going to be in favor of, a better chance to get into the individuals. No entries based on ranking. The only way into the championships this year, which is going to take place this fall for the first time. 2-year pilot, going to hold the individual championships at Baylor at the mid to end of November. Only way to get in, it's either through winning your way in at All-Americans, Regionals, Masters, or the Sectionals. We start here at the All-Americans. The 8 quarterfinalists and the 2 consolation draw finalists will qualify for the NCAA singles tournament. From the All-Americans, we then move on to regionals. There are 13 regions. The 2 finalists in each region qualify. The Conference Masters holds a tournament, 1 representative from every conference at the tournament. The 4 semifinalists from there will qualify. And then the last resort, sectionals. If you didn't make it through your region, you get to play in sectionals, and those 4 sections will send 6 people each into the NCAA championships. That's your draw of 64 in singles. And the only way to get there, you've got to win your way in. No ranking entries this year. And the sectional concept will be new to folks. That did not exist before. We talk a little bit about that. I wish I had the graphic for it, but I don't. But the 4 sections are almost like time zones, are sort of broken up. They're broken up as are time zones running across from east to west, and such that you have you see states like Michigan and Wisconsin in the same section because of the north-south dividing lines as Texas. That section is going to be played at TCU, so players from Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin, they're all going to have to make the trip down for sectionals to Texas to play. And that's a tough section when you've got Texas A&M, TCU, Texas. But that's a new concept this year. And the final entries, they'll also be the final entries into the individual championships. And the way you make it through those sectional draws, you got to get at least to the quarterfinals. If you make it to the quarters, the 4 winners in the quarters automatically get in. Those are the 4 semifinalists. And that ball's deep. And then the 4 losers out of the quarters will play each other in a playoff with the 2 winners making it. So that's how you get 6 entries out of sectionals in each of the 4 sections for the final 24 spots. Good serve down the tee from Bernie, backs it up. And that's a 6-love set for Alexander Bernard. Did not have that on the bingo card coming in, that's for sure. See if Dietrich can shake that one off. See if he's going to make any tactical changes. First thing he's going to do is drop the hat and take a bathroom break. Talk about some of the other changes. We're going to need a little longer set to see the effects of them. But as we wait, first of all, we'll go ahead and bring up some scores from around the grounds here in Tulsa. Matches going on right now. Earlier in the day, the shocker of the day, and there's another one on this board, but the shocker of the day, top-seeded Ozan Barish out to Cal's Theo Dean in round 1. A 3-setter, 6-1 in the third for Dean. So the top-seeded Barish is out. 7th-seeded Gavin Young is out. And we look here, and you see Colton Smith, top center of the screen, is down 3-1 in the third to Kenta Miyoshi. Smith, I believe, I'd have to check the draw again. I believe the 3 seed. No, the 5 seed, excuse me. The 5 seed for Colton Smith. But some upsets already on the men's side. And you see a couple 3-set battles going on there. Miguel Perez Pena for Georgia, Colomansi, Oklahoma. Fons von Sambeek, NC State Wolfpack, squaring off with Max Sheldon from Michigan State. He made it all the way from the pre-qualifying draw. Had to win 3 matches in pre-qualifying, 2 matches in qualifying to make his way to the main draw, joining teammates Ozan Barish and freshman Matthew Forbes, who won Kalamazoo this year, got to play in the U.S. Open. Get a look at some of those newcomers. The ITA puts a list out every year of the top newcomers, those being incoming freshmen. I believe they are based straight off the WTNs, but here are your top 10 newcomers on the men's side this year. You see Dylan Dietrich's got a teammate on this list in Rafa Jodar, who just won the U.S. Open Juniors. Rudy Kwan playing here today. Nicolo Baroni, number 6 for Mississippi State, would have been in the All-American draw, but he ended up futures in Fayetteville last week and missed the start of All-Americans due to that, so he's not in the tournament. So those were the newcomers. And then you look at top 10 singles rankings. As each day we do a featured match, we are likely to get to see some of these guys. We'll show this again later as they're about to resume for the second set. But there you see Barish, number 1, already gone. You see Jack Anthrop at 9, Alexander Bernard's teammate. Shinsuke Mitsui also out. Gavin Young out. Radu Papaway lost 0-1 today. He's out. So a lot of upsets, a lot of top 10 players already gone. Fortunately for these two, neither is in the top 10, so it wouldn't be a top 10 upset. Dietrich getting to start the second set on serve here. Kind of feels like a big game for him. Just got bageled in the first set. A lot of tennis players superstitious. They don't even like the bagels because all too often it happens that you bagel the first set and the other guy comes back and wins the match. That being said, superstition aside, Dietrich just doesn't want to get broken to start the second. So we'll see what he can do here. That just kind of lets you feel like he's not feeling it. Bernie gave him that one right back where he wanted it. Chest high volley, and he just puts it right in the net. Coach Trent Huey there. Some of the best hands you'll ever see, probably shaking watching that. here. Only the first game of the second, but kind of feels like a big spot for Dietrich to get on the board. A couple big serves here. That was a good big serve. Bernie couldn't put it back in play, so 40-30 and a couple game points. Dietrich trying to get on the board. Well, a couple big serves is what he needed. A couple big serves is what he got. One unreturned and one ace to finish that game. So Dietrich 1-love in the second on the board. I'll flash those singles rankings again, as they were pretty short before. Some of these guys have already played. Some playing now. So as I mentioned, Barish lost. Zhang yet to play. Tarvit, I believe, finished his match and won. Double checking. He did indeed. 1 and 2 over Adit Sinha from Cornell. Cooper Williams also won, had to go 3 sets. He won. Colton Smith now had been down a break in the third. He's got it back on serve. He's 3-all on third. Radu Popaway lost 0-1 earlier. Gavin Young lost in 3. Don't believe Ozelins has played yet, nor Anthrop. And Shinsuke Mitsui goes down to the aforementioned freshman from Michigan State, Matthew Forbes. Forbes been on a great run since Kalamazoo, winning that, playing well actually at the U.S. Open. See at the bottom of the screen here, every 5 minutes we'll run through some scores. Current matches, both at Cary for the women and Tulsa here for the men. Bernie 40-15 now on his serve. Feels like Dietrich ideally would like to find a break early, sort of stop the Bernie momentum. And that you can see was a let. For those unfamiliar with college tennis, you play the lets. There are no lets. You play them. No lets, no deuces. Run through some of the results for you here from Tulsa today. Match just recently finished. Lucas Stahaley knocks off Charlie Kozne 6-4 in the third. Cooper Williams 6-1 in the third over Noah Zamora. Another let, deep return from Bernie. Peter Mock of USC knocks off Gavin Young. Gavin Young rolls his ankle early in the third. From what I hear, he's still going to give doubles a shot today. Oh, what hands from Bernie. The wheels to get there, and disguised. You kind of felt like he was going to drop it because you saw Dietrich running in, but disguised the placement very well. And when he went far side, nothing Dietrich could do. Jay Friend 4-2 over Anthony Wright. Oliver Tarvett 1-2 over it. Sinai. Will Jansen, transfer to Ohio State from North Carolina, knocks off Max Smith of Clemson 6-4 in the third. That ball deep. So Bernie holds for 1-all. Keep running down. Sam Landau, another transfer from Indiana to Duke, knocks off Peter Jovanovich of Mississippi State, 6-2 in the third. Forbes knocks off Mitsui Louis Maxted, knocks off Columbia transfer Alex Kotson, who is now at Tennessee. Samir Banerjee 0-3 win. Sambor Velch, affectionately known as Z at Baylor. That's a good volley by, easy volley, but a good play for Dietrich there. Velch knocks off Van Schalkwit. 6-4 in the third. Martin Katz from Miami, 0-2 over P.Y. Bailey. That's a little bit of a head scratcher. Jonah Braswell drops the first set, but then Pablo Alemany of Memphis has to retire. 1-love in the second, so Braswell will move on. Sebastian Gorsny clinched the NCAA title for TCU last year, transfers to Texas. He picks up a win over Thomas Paulsell in straights today. Former teammate Pedro Vives, 1-0 over Radu Papaway. And Ryan Colby of Georgia, 6-2 in the third over Gerard Planellis. Last year at Arkansas has transferred to Duke. Duke, the team of many transfers this year. And now Dietrich finding himself in a spot here. Desperately needs to hold and not go down a break. Serve a good 8 inches below the top of the net. Still doesn't feel like he's got the rhythm. That ball wide, and Bernard gets a break. So now it's a set and break lead for Alexander Bernard. 2-1 here in the second. And it's just misses from Dietrich, frankly. Bernard clearly playing well, but Dietrich just missing right now. You can see Trent Huey sitting next to him on the bench, thinking the same thing, I think. Don't know what to tell you, Dylan. You just got to make balls. Just missing. See, on one of the other courts, Rudy Kwan's got a match point against Thanos from Michigan State. Could be a rough day for the Spartans. Barish and Sheldon going down. Thanos right now down a match point. 6-5 in the second. It's a set and 6-5 down. Actually, I take that back. Sheldon did not go down. He was down a set earlier, but he won the second. So they're in a third. He's actually up a break. My bad. So just Barish down right now. 2 guys going for Michigan State. Miles and Max. Very, very bad. You're not going to see a drop shot much worse than that. Ball that lands 10 feet short of the net. But I'm not sure what Dietrich's play is at this point. Bernie, unbelievably tough. Outdoors. Getting to the point here in the set where the balls are actually going to favor him as well. I'll talk about that a little more after this point. There's a frame from Bernie for 15-30, but the ITA this year has adopted for all of their sponsored events the Dunlop balls. So the All-Americans using them, I would assume indoors will use them. Right after the bad drop shot, Bernie goes right back to the same shot, and it works this time for 30-all. But these Dunlop balls, I've talked to some folks who have said it's been really interesting. They wear out very quick, and players use the balls for a set. And what I'm being told is after about 3 or 4 games, they're extremely fuzzy and very slow. So the players that like the quick surfaces or just like to bang on the ball, it gets very tough for them after the first 3 or 4 games. Bernie now with a couple game points to consolidate that break. But that's something I mentioned, that as this set goes on, probably favors Bernie a little. He would much rather play the grinding points, whereas Dietrich's going to want to go for his balls and hit some winners. It just gets tougher the longer the set goes, as those balls sit up and get slower. Oh, another let serve, and Bernie goes right behind him for the winner in 3-1. I mentioned the ITA events will be using the Dunlop balls. I believe the NCAA tournament will be using Wilson, so that's going to be a little interesting, the players we play in those Dunlops. But it's also a conference-by-conference or school-by-school decision. I believe the Big Ten and the SEC that I've talked to have both elected for the use of Wilson balls, which is what they used last year, this year. So they'll play Wilsons all year, and at NCAAs, with the exception of any of the ITA events, which at a minimum is here and at indoors. Not sure if that applies to kickoff weekend prior to indoors. Also not sure if that applies to regionals and sectionals, but I would think it would. Dietrich will gladly take a couple freebies from Bernie here. Down a set and a break. He's not going to stop firing. He just needs a combination of hitting his and Bernie to just cool down a little bit. Bernie's been remarkable so far. Another freebie. Solid hold for Dietrich. Bernie's still up a break here. We'll check in again. On scores from around the grounds, you see Colton Smith and Kenta Miyoshi locked in a battle. 4-all in the third. As are Perez Pena and Monsi, 5-4 in the third. And Max Sheldon, the Spartan I tried to dismiss as having lost earlier, is now up 5-1 in the third on Fons van Sambeek. So he's looking like he's got a good shot at moving on to the second round. Again, a reminder that the top 8, all quarterfinalists in the main draw will qualify for NCAAs. But even if you lose, the consolation feed-in winner, the 2 finalists in the back draw also make it. So incentive for players to keep playing. We've had, in my mind, a little bit of an issue in the past with some guys withdrawing once they lose their main draw match for reasons other than injury, which is obviously totally acceptable. Ball deep from Dietrich. He's still struggling just to find that rhythm and range. But those withdrawals from the back draw should become less frequent with the fact that the consolation finalists make it into the NCAA tournament now this year. Again, that NCAA tournament, November, pop that graphic up again in a bit. I think it's the 19th to 24th at Baylor. That's the individuals, singles and doubles tournament. Moving to the fall this year, a 2-year pilot to move that to the fall. Bernie just doing a great job of keeping, even though he loses that point, keeping Dietrich back, not giving him a lot of opportunity to go for the balls he wants to go for. Sort of describe Bernie as a counterpuncher, but he actually hits quite a bit of pace with good placement. Just makes it really tough for you to go for your shots. He doesn't give you a lot of soft, short balls. Great placement from him, depth or laterally. Bernie throwing in a couple slices there off the backhand. Inducing the error from Dietrich. Good overhead put away from Bernie there. See Coach OSU. He's got a few words there for Dietrich. 40-15, 3 game points for Bernie to make it 4-2. Forehand deep from Bernie, but you see him not exactly soft balls. He hits out on his balls. Talked about Dietrich, a freshman last year, only lost 7 singles matches. On the season. Bernie even fewer, so neither one of these guys is accustomed to losing much. Oh. Very soft second from Bernie. And you could see it kind of caught Dietrich out of time. Got his feet ahead of his racket and had to wait on it. Just mistimed it and hit the return long. So it's 4-2 Bernie now. Must hold spot for Dietrich here. Dietrich 23-7 on the season last year. 20-6 in dual matches. He was just too good at 3 and 4. And he finally got his spot in the lineup up in the 2 spot. He was 6 and 5 there, so that's where he's going to get his level. Moving up in the order now with all of those Virginia players gone. 30 Love, good start here. But the graduation of that class of Rodesh, Montez, Von der Schulenberg, Kiefer opens up that lineup, and pending where they slot probably freshman Rafa Jodar in, Dietrich, a likely number 1. Certainly should be no worse than 2, so he's going to be in the top 2 of the lineup this year, and that's where it's going to have to step up a little from last year for him, but very capable. 40 Love here in his must-hold game. Good hold for Dietrich. Now 4-3, still down a break. He's going to have to find one, either here or the game after, if he can hold. Talked a little bit about Dietrich. Take another quick look in, though, in the meantime, at these scores as you see Colton Smith looks like he just got a break to go up 6-5 and serve for the match with Kenta Miyoshi. Miguel Perez Pena appears to be in the same boat, 6-5 serving. In the third, match points for Max Sheldon. Aiden Kim, Ohio State transfer from Florida. You see there, just split. That one on the court next to the match we're watching. The 2 Ohio State teammates playing side by side. And Sheldon does indeed get the win for Michigan State. Probably didn't have bearish losing Sheldon winning on that Michigan State bingo card this morning. been in control from the start, never trailed. See if Dietrich can do anything here. See a eventual miss there from Bernie, but Dietrich finally got him pulled wide with that backhand. Induces the miss from Bernie, but those haven't happened very often. My apologies for not using the replay sooner. Great addition to our repertoire from super producer Daniel Westhoff this season. Yeah, interesting choice of tactics here by Dietrich. Seems like he's settled into into playing the rally game with Bernie. Normally I'd say probably not the best of ideas, but the attacking style hasn't worked out to his advantage yet. So maybe trying to play a little longer rally and see if he does that, maybe he can get a short ball out of Bernie. We'll see. But it's Dietrich with the short ball first that time, letting Bernie dictate. 30-15 here. Now 6 points. From a win. Those scores we showed last time, some close ones down the stretch. Miguel Perez Pena and Colo Monsi are now in a third set breaker. Colton Smith serving for it, down 15-30. Trying to see if he can serve it out, but Pena was unable to.
40-15.
Another miss from Dietrich, frankly. It's just sort of been the story of the match. Bernie's not missing, Dietrich is. Not too much more complicated than that today. Hold for Bernie, so it's 5-3, 1 game away for Alexander Bernard. Take a look at the draws. See where the winner of this match. That's what we've seen all match. Dietrich coming in and burning at the forehand pass. You see Here comes Dietrich. There's the approach. It's just not good enough. And Bernie with the forehand right down the line. But the winner of this match faced the winner of J.C. Roddick of Texas A&M, Kyle Kang of Stanford. Get 64 players in the main draw here. So to get to those quarterfinals in the automatic berth, you got to win 3 matches in the main draw. That's a good inside-out forehand from Dietrich there. Obviously a 6-love 5-3. They're all must-win games for Dietrich now, but a must-hold, and then he's going to have to find a way to break Bernie. Good serve there. Freebie for 30-15. Talked about Dietrich a little before this match ends. We'll talk a little about Bernie's year last year. That's 40-15 now. 3 points to hold. Try to get to 5-4. Bernie only lost 1 dual match last year. 32-5 overall. Now 2 more points. Bernie went the entire dual match season undefeated last year. Last match of the season in the semifinals against TCU, he lost to Sebastian Gorsny, his first dual match loss of the season, first and only. Tough to go 25-1 in singles and dual matches and not make the NCAA tournament. Oh, that forehand from Bernie. Off the return this time. You see right down the line. Now we've got a deciding point, match point here. Looks like Bernie's going to take it in the ad court. That's it.
Yeah! Let's go!
Bernard, 6-love, 6-3, dominating performance. Just too good, and obviously Dietrich just didn't have his game today. But Alexander Bernard will move on to face the winner of Kyle Kang or J.C. Roddick in a very abbreviated match of the day today. You see Coach Huey and Coach Tucker shaking hands, but we'll be back again tomorrow, each and every day. Thursday, Friday, we'll have the featured match of the day for both the men and the women. Gruskin will have them all on Saturday, and then on finals Sunday, I will have the men's final. Alex will have the women's final, but please come back tomorrow for our featured match of the day. Catch us all day long. Until then, we'll see you all tomorrow.
I've always loved the game of tennis.
Everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
I consider my tennis family part of my overall family.
That's what I like about it most, the friendships you develop.
I look so forward to coming to these events and seeing my friends that I've made through the years.
If you love the game, give back to the game.
You become the calm in the storm.
You can decide how much you want to work and how much you don't want to work.
You never stop learning.
Every time I work an event, I always learn something.
It takes time, it takes experience.
Find your niche. We need you, and I think you will find it very rewarding.
Get out there, start trying to do it, and see if you like it.
New balls, please. At Dunlop, we've been making tennis balls for over 100 years. Balls played at more tournaments globally than any other brand. Officially endorsed by the ATP Tour. Performance runs through our DNA. Dunlop, the #1 ball on tour.
I've always loved the game of tennis.
Everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
I consider my tennis family part of my overall family.
That's what I like about it most, the friendships you develop.
I look so forward to coming to these events and seeing my friends that I've made through the years.
If you